Alright guys, today I want to take a look at the Verotelecom Solutions VR-N7500. This is a dual band VHF UHF transceiver, and I was going to do an unboxing, but I really kind of don't watch unboxing videos, and it's a box with stuff in it, so let's just look at the stuff. Alright, but for branding purposes, there it is. It's a beautiful box, very much cardboard. Alright, so the radio itself comes with mounting hardware, a bracket, a spare fuse, a sticky magnetic mounting plate, and a clip. So you have multiple options for stashing the microphone wherever is appropriate. And of course there's the mounting bracket. Let's move that out of the way. The radio itself also comes with a power cord, and it was already tinned. I added power poles to it, so there we go. Standard T connector on the power cord, fairly long. I did not unwind all this to measure it. I'm gonna guess 10-12 feet long at least. Pretty solid. All right, and then the radio comes with a wired microphone as well. The mic has a magnetic back in it, and so that little sticky thing has a metal plate, and you can stick that to your dashboard and then mag mount the mic to your dashboard. The mic is multifunction. It flips between volume up and volume down, or channel up and channel down is how that works, and we'll talk about that in a minute or two. And then the actual radio itself, and this is the radio. On the back we have a 1/8" stereo or audio out. I don't doubt it's stereo, and then the SO239, and the rest of it looks like the back of a radio. Nothing special there. It's fused on both the hot and the ground, and this is the front of the radio. Now this guy does not have faceplate. This radio is designed to be stuck under your seat and used remotely with an app, and we'll talk about the app in a minute. It does have a connector for a mic that looks like a standard sized RJ45 connector. It is. You can see that well enough. So you could make a mic extension cord if you wanted to. This also has a Bluetooth mic available, which I have, and I'll show you in a second. On the front of this radio, other than the model number, power, transmit, receive. That's it. That's all the display that this radio has on the front at all. That's the only indicators that it does anything, and a power button obviously to turn it on and off. The radio also, it does not come with, but I purchased separately, a Bluetooth mic, which looks pretty much like the other mic, same buttons, as well as a PTT, and the same kind of mounting options. This already has a little clip on it, and then it's magnetic in the back, so that same mag mount would work for this mic. This is a speaker mic. It's not stellar, but you know, it's a microphone and a speaker all in one. This is charged via micro USB. I do not know how long it will run. I haven't tested that out. I had done a video yesterday, and I was not happy with how it came out, so I'm kind of starting over. I've played with a lot of this already, which is cool because this might go a little faster and I won't bore anyone to death. So once you have everything set up, and I'm fixing to set it up, we'll jump back in and power it on. I'll hook up an antenna and a power meter. I'm going to be running off of a 20 amp hour Miati battery here in the shack, and we'll take a look at power draw, and then I also have a SWR and power meter, and we'll look at the output power on it. This radio is rated for 40-50 watts, 50 watts I believe on UHF and 40 watts on VHF, so we'll double check the ratings and see what we have. So I'll be back in just a second. Okay, I've got everything wired up. I did want to mention this does come with one piece of paper that is the instructions. I believe there may be a manual online, but I've yet to been able to connect to that website. I'll have to follow up on that. But it gives you information about where to download the Android app or the iOS app, and how to connect the Bluetooth microphone. And you can also use this with an existing Bluetooth headset that you may have. You can also, I believe, connect this up to your car audio if you have Bluetooth in your car, which is kind of cool, because with the Bluetooth mic in use and this connected to your car audio, you don't have to have any other connections to this radio. You can totally bury this thing under the seat, use the Bluetooth mic, and catch the radio audio out of your car's entertainment center. So that's pretty cool. I haven't done that yet, but I have confirmed it does send out audio over Bluetooth. It also will send it out over whatever mobile device you're using to play with the app. So right now I have the app loaded on a Samsung, my wife's old S7 Edge, and we'll let that boot up. So let's look at a couple things while that's getting fired up. So the current power draw on this is, it bumped up to 0.21 amps a second ago, and then it jumped right back down. The radio is on, but this meter's not picking up anything as far as amp draw. The watt power and amp hours that have been used are since the meter reset. So I'm going to get the app going here real quick. And put in my secret code. I don't want you guys figuring out my phone PIN code. That'd be terrible. So the app is available on the iOS App Store as BSHT, and on the Google Play Store it's available as HT. And they tell you directions how to get the app. You can also download it directly and sideload it on Android, not on iOS, obviously. So let's jump into the app here. And let me show you the app. All right. So let me see if I can bring that camera in a little bit closer. Bit of a glare from the overhead light. So there's the radio, and this is the basic control interface for the radio. So within the interface you can program each of these 16 channels on the radio. By touching it, it changes the channel on the radio. This has A and a B, so you can use both or one and flip back and forth between them. I believe it's dual monitor, as long as you're not transmitting. It is not full duplex. So that's just changing repeaters. I'm going to put it on VHF simplex for now for our tests. You can set the power, low, middle, high power. That power setting is tied to what channel. So if I edit VHF simplex to low power, the next time I come back to VHF simplex, it will still be low power. It has a talk around button. It will also play FM radio. Why you would want to do that, I don't know. And you can power the radio on and off, the actual unit itself, from within the app. There's a whole bunch of settings, and I'm not going to go into that because that's long and fairly convoluted. It's one of those things you kind of got to sit there and play with yourself, and no one wants to watch me play with settings on this device. I will tell you, let me pop to the screen real quick. There are a lot of settings to tinker with on this. And I did find out yesterday, while I was getting this set up, that there's one setting that apparently you key down, you speak, and then the app and the radio rebroadcast what you say right after you unkey. I was not making friends on the local repeater with that little option. So once I figured that out, I turned that off. That's another reason we're going to do this on simplex tonight. I should have put in a dummy load, but I didn't, so we'll move on. This radio does APRS. It also will interface in a bunch of different ways, like I said, with APRS. And they also have a voice over internet channel application built into this. I haven't played with that because I have no interest in that in any case. So with that being said, let's put this to low power, and I'm transmitting into a J-pole that's on the outside of my shop here, and let's take a look at what our output power is going to be. KN4YCD test, KN4YCD test. I was on the 200 watt range. Let me bump that down to the 15 watt range. KN4YCD test, KN4YCD test. So that's about 6 watts right there on low power. We'll go to medium power. I'm going to move the phone out of the way because I keep touching it and that changes settings. Medium power, this is VHF simplex. KN4YCD test, KN4YCD test. So that's 20 watts output on medium power. And now I'll bump it up to high power. KN4YCD test, KN4YCD test. VHF 40 watts. And if we switch over to UHF simplex, high power. KN4YCD testing, 1, 2, 3, 4. 60 watts. Pegged it. Let's go down to medium on UHF. KN4YCD test. 40 watts on medium power. That's pretty epic. And I am on the 60 watt range down here. And then low power. KN4YCD test, KN4YCD test. 20 watts on low power UHF. So there's the power outputs for it, and I think that's pretty awesome. This radio was about $170. I bought it from RNL. I'm not a sponsor. I'm not sponsored. I paid for this out of my own money. That's not to say if ICOM doesn't want to send me an FTDX, I mean a Yaesu sends me an FTDX 101, I'd totally review it, but they haven't called. So that's the power settings. I briefly showed you the app. I have to say that I think on this, the Android app is by far better than the iOS app. For one, it's laid out a whole lot better, and a lot easier to get to. Even delving way down in the settings, it just works a whole lot better. And you can see we have a lot of settings to play with. This one right here, audio relay, don't turn that on until we find out exactly what that's for, because I have no idea. That was the repeat everything I say back over the radio. It was kind of strange because what it was doing was whenever anyone, and there were several people talking, having a QSO on the repeater, and whenever one of them would unkey, the radio would go into transmit and retransmit what they were saying back at them. It took me a minute to figure that out because I was not monitoring the repeater from another radio. I just had this one on. So that was kind of awkward until I figured that out and turned that off. This is where you would control whether you're going to put the audio out to your phone or another Bluetooth device. You can do that. The radio will do local talk around. You have transmit timers, hold times. You can turn off. You can turn on a PTT follow tone. It has tail elimination. Programming a channel in is fairly straightforward. You can mess with the mic gain, of course, and generally all the things that you would do with the standard VHF, UHF mobile radio. The radio does have automatic shutdown, so you could leave it plugged in your car and not worry about it, and it'll just power itself off if you wire it hot to the battery, which is pretty swank. Since you turn it on and off with the phone, that's great. You don't even have to get to it to hit a power button. Let's jump back, and it will scan. The range on this is the standard range for VHF and UHF ham bands, 146 to 174 and 420 to 470. Some of that is out of the ham bands. I don't know if it actually will transmit in those, but it will receive on those. to set a channel. And as far as I can tell, this only has 16 channels available. You press and hold whatever channel button you want to change and tell it edit channel, and then tell it more so you get all your settings, and you can name it transmit, receive frequencies, whatever tones you might need, what transmit power you associate with this channel by default, bandwidth settings. So, you know, for standard FM, it's going to be 25 kilohertz. You can actually change that down, I believe, as well. You can disable transmit on a given channel. I have not tried that. I could put it on the local fire department frequency and disable transmit possibly, but I'm not going to do that anyway. And whether you're going to scan it or not scan it, so it allows you to build a scan list as you go. And then you have the pre-emphasis and de-emphasis filter on there. And then you save it. Shave it, you don't shave it. So that's pretty much the basic operation of the radio. There is a speaker in the box itself. It's obviously not real good. There's one in the microphone, and you can have one or both of them on at the same time. When you use the microphone, and let me jump back and put the app up there on the screen for you again. So we're on W4AP repeater. If I hit the up arrow, this is doing volume right now. Volume up and volume down. You get that tone when you hit the volume edge. And if I hit the multifunction button,
channel,
she tells me channel.
Channel 2.
And then she changes channels as I push the button.
Channel 3.
She doesn't tell you the name. She just tells you the channel number. So if you monitor a lot of repeaters, I don't know that this would be something that would be useful for you. I only monitor a couple of repeaters. There's not that many here in the Montgomery, Alabama area. And I'm usually on System Fusion or DMR anyway, as opposed to the local repeaters. I don't know. I think 16 channels is fine because I'm not monitoring more than that. And it's nice as a backup radio because honestly, it's so small. Why not hook up 2 radios? You know, and that's a cool thing as far as I'm concerned. That's real cool. I have a Fusion radio in my truck. I have an FTM 400, and I believe I'm going to get this wired in right next to the 400 base under the back seat of my truck, and get the Bluetooth all configured properly, and I'll have a standard 2-meter 440 radio in the truck as well as a Fusion radio without having to find a place to put another control head on my dashboard. You know, I think that's a great use for it. And the cost is excellent. I mean, it was $160, $170 from R&L. Now, one thing that I did not buy because I didn't see it when I was buying this radio, they also sell a Bluetooth push-to-talk button on a Velcro strap. And I think it's about $15 for that accessory, and I will be ordering that from R&L to go with this radio. So with the Bluetooth hooked up, with the Bluetooth microphone, the audio coming out of my car stereo speakers, and a Bluetooth PTT button wired on my steering wheel, this thing is great. This is absolutely great. And I'm not entirely sure, and I will probably make a follow-up video to let you guys know, but I believe I don't even need the Bluetooth microphone if it's wired into my Bluetooth in the car. That depends on what Bluetooth profiles they have installed, but I feel that probably the same audio profile that my cell phone uses will work with this radio. Therefore, I already have a mic built in the car. The audio will come out the stereo speakers, and the transmitted audio will come from the Bluetooth microphone built in the car that I use for cell phone calls. So that's outstanding, and I don't see why that's not going to work. I feel very confident that that will work exactly like I think it will, based on what I've seen with this radio so far. So the other thing I was going to show you real quick, we're done with the app for now. I'm going to make sure we're back over on Simplex, and I'm going to leave us on UHF Simplex, and I'm going to put us to high power. And let's take a look at the load when I key down on this bad boy. KN4YCD test 1 2 3 4. KN4YCD test 1 2 3 4. So an 8 amp current draw on VHF high power, and if I jump over to UHF, or excuse me, that was UHF high power. Let me jump over to VHF simplex, and also on high power. Let me get that where you can see it. KN4YCD testing 1 2 3 4 in simplex. KN4YCD test 1 2 3 4. So 6.24 amps of current draw at high power. Just for comparison, let's jump to low power on VHF. KN4YCD test 2.3 amps on low power, and we might as well be complete. UHF low power, KN4YCD test, as low power UHF is higher output power anyway. So not bad on current draw, and sitting here in idle, and the radio is on right now. We're not pulling any current. Not enough for this. Not enough for this to register. We don't have a display. All there is on the front of this is 3 LEDs. So there's very little that this thing has to keep hot. You know, obviously all the radio circuitry is still hot. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go get my Baofeng and key it up on simplex and let you guys hear it. And we'll wrap this up. Okay, I've got a radio, and I'm going to step into the other side of the shack here and key up. And hopefully this audio is not going to blast our doors off. And I don't know how much you'll appreciate it over YouTube, but we'll give it a shot. KN4YCD test 1 2 3 4. VR-N7500 radio test 1 2 3 4. Kilo November 4. Yankee Charlie Delta clear. So that's about all I have for you today. I think this is a decent radio for the cost. Is this an ICOM or a Yaesu? No, certainly not a Kenwood. This radio absolutely competes at the level of an Anytone or a B-Tech or some of those radios. My two beefs, I guess, with this setup is that the instructions on the app are a little lacking. I am not an Android user. I am an iPhone guy. This is the wife's old phone. Yes, we're a split family. There's one in every bunch. The Android app is much better than the iOS app. And you Apple haters, just hush, because it's just the programmers. It's not the device, okay? So, you know, that's a beef. The app is not real clear, and the iOS app especially, very confusing, and actually didn't show a lot of the functions that I've showed you in this. So that's one complaint. And the other thing is not really a fair complaint. It's an observation. Wow, this would be slick if it did DMR. If this had a DMR function in it, this would be the radio of choice, and I would probably pull the Fusion radio out of my truck. But it doesn't. Is it cool? Heck yeah, it's still cool. Not a bad little base station unit either. With the Bluetooth speaker mic, you don't have to have a cord anywhere. You can stick this thing under a counter or in a drawer even, and kick it on and off with the app. We're going to turn the radio off. Radio's off. I want the radio on.
Channel 3.
Power it back on. She tells me what channel I'm on, and I can already tell that by looking at the app, so that's cool. I did mention that this is single channel and dual channel. I had it on single channel earlier, so you can see down there at the bottom it shows us VHF simplex is where it's at, and then there's the APRS channel I put in there as well. So anyway, I don't want to ramble, and I feel I already am. So guys, that's it. That's all I have for today. Once again, this is Jim, KN4YCD, and I'd surely appreciate it if we could feed the YouTube algorithm. Hit like, and if you're not already subscribed, click subscribe. Ring the bell. That way you'll get notified when I post a new video. it feeds the YouTube machine. And that way YouTube will hopefully have a better chance of putting videos in front of you that you care about. Anyway, that's it. Have a great day.